Okay, welcome everyone to Ascend Academy. It is week 3 of learning all the things about home parties. So I'm going to hand over the time to Sam, and we're just going to keep learning. All right, Sam, go for it.
Hey guys, I'm gonna try and do this as quickly and not take up too much of your time because I know it's probably bedtime for anybody who's got kiddos. I know mine are trying to sneak around the corner, trying to peek and see what I'm doing when they should be in bed. But I was asked to talk about hosting like parties and like flipping parties to host. To be honest, that's how I got a lot of my recruits, was flipping their parties to get them to join. The way that I did that was I was very intentional with my host from the get-go. Like, you're going to have kidnappers. It will happen. I'm not going to lie to you. It happens. People tell you that they want to join and they want to do X, Y, Z. And then all of a sudden you give them the kit or they earn the kit and just nothing. You hear crickets, you hear nothing. So be very intentional with your host. And what I've learned is to have your host make a wish list. Have them be intentional about what their goal is to try and earn. So the more, like the higher their wish list, the more obviously that they need their party people to get orders, collect orders. You can make, I use Canva a lot to do like templates to let them know, hey, you can either earn this amount in rewards or we can flip your party and you can earn this amount if you join. I know there's a really good join special going on right now. I have 2 people who are interested in flipping their parties, possibly for joining, but I don't like to get too excited because when I get too excited, then it usually flops. So the way that I can tell you is you're going to have kidnappers. It's going to happen. There's no way to really stop that. Just being intentional with your hosts, letting them know, because you'll have hosts who are like, okay, I'll have a Facebook party, but I don't want to really do anything. Like, what do I have to do? I let them know I need you to, before we get started, like, again, what is on your wish list? What are you looking for? Are you looking to just earn rewards? Are you looking to join? A lot of them are hesitant at first to say that they're willing to join until they start seeing that their party is doing really good, and then they're like, oh, this isn't actually not so bad. I don't like to use the word selling Scentsy. I like to use the word sharing Scentsy, because it kind of leaves like a bad taste in some of my hosts' mouths sometimes. When I tell them, hey, let's share Scentsy, let's share it with your friends and family. Don't sell it to them. I want you to share it. I want you to share what your favorite products are. In their parties, whether it's bag parties or Facebook parties or texting parties, I will tell the party guest what my host is looking for. So if my host is telling me that she is thinking about joining, I will shout her out and get support behind her, because the more you support your host, the better turnaround that you have for either flipping that party to get your host to actually do something beyond the party, because once they become your downline or frontline or whichever part, they can potentially, be a rock star, and you never know who's going to be, your next rock star. So again, being very intentional with your host, shouting out their goals. I noticed that was a huge thing, shouting out their goals or letting the party people know where they're at with their goals. Hey, Susie's $100 away from hitting a $200 party, and then the host already knows, like, hey, if I hit 200, that's $20 in Scentsy money and one item half price, or everybody kind of knows the but then that gets the host to kind of engage more. Having kind of everybody, we've all had Facebook parties, we've all had parties that are like meh. So really encouraging your host to be intentional with their party has gone a long way. And again, that's how I got a lot of my recruits. I love to recruit. I think that's just one of my strongest things to do. Because I feel like I'm very honest with the people as I'm trying to recruit. I don't like to sugarcoat and say, hey, this is an overnight success. You have to work it for it if you want it. And I think that's how I get a lot of people to want to join. PRV, not so much my strong suit, but I think recruiting and letting people sharing the business, sharing what it's done for, me and my little ones, helping out with what it can for extra income and all that stuff. So being very intentional and putting your heart into it. If you're honest and people get the authentic and real you, then they're more likely to want to flip their party into becoming a consultant. I'm going to be like straight up with you. If you're going to sit there and tell them, hey, this is an overnight thing, like you could be making so much money right away, like that's not being realistic. You got to be realistic with yourself. Hey, if you put into your business this amount, this is what you can see on the other side. I've had hosts, ask me how much do they need to make to earn money and so forth. And again, I'm very intentional. I'm very honest with them and I let them know. So I think that's kind of like just the biggest takeaway I wanted to share with you guys tonight is there's going to be kidnappers. There's nothing you can do about that. Is be intentional, be the real you. When you're talking to your host, let them know straight up. Sometimes if I see a host, if she or he is like really pushing the party and like really engaging and they don't make, the host amount that they should to start earning like credit and stuff like that or half off, then I will, like if I have an extra cent of the month bar, I will give that to them. Get it out of your stack. If you got any extra things, a catalog and some cents of the month and some samples and be like, I saw you. Do it how you guys talk to your team too. Like, I see you. I saw what you did. Don't like if I had a host one time who really wanted to join, but her party was like a flop. It was like a nothing. So she got really discouraged and was like, I can't do this. I can't sell Scentsy. And I was like, well, first off, you're not selling it, you're sharing it. So instead of being a sharing consultant, and I ended up giving her a couple wax bars and kind of saying, hey, let's try this again. What can we do to, tweak this? How can we, maybe Facebook, there was a period of time where Facebook kind of wasn't anybody's like, nobody wanted to have Facebook parties or everybody was doing Facebook parties and it was really hard to kind of book them or however you guys want to say it. But I gave her like almost like a little host, like basket type thing or like a baggie, almost like a bag party type thing. And I said, hey, instead of doing something on Facebook, take this to your friends and family and do it this way. And she ended up getting orders and then she ended up flipping the party and she is now one of my front lines. So kind of, be authentic, be intentional with your host and really see what their needs are. Because at the end of the day, it's not about you. It's about, putting your heart into that person who either wants to join your team, who wants to be a host and earn free things. Again, ask them up front what they want as when they become a host. Making a wish list, making them put out a wish list usually so I usually have a couple things start on a Sunday just to introduce who I am in a Facebook party. And then the party will run from Monday, like Monday to Saturday type thing. So I will tell them on Sunday, hey, your party starts tomorrow. Tonight on Sunday, I'm getting everything started. You can start adding people, but I want you to, I'll either send them the digital catalog, go through it. What's your wish list? What are you looking for to get out of this party? I'm very intentional when I have my parties because in the past, this sounds bad, but like in the past, I would have 10 parties at a time, but like 7 of them would be flops because I wasn't being intentional with my host. I was doing all the Visly stuff. I was setting up codes. I would just kind of let the party run, check in here and there. I do work full time at a hospital. So, I wasn't very intentional. And then something clicked in my head And it was like, what am I doing wrong as a Scentsy consultant, pretty much, that I'm not being intentional with my host? And as soon as I said the word intentional, something clicked in my head and I started digging deeper into what my host wanted. And from there, that's some months I'll have a couple, like I'll have 3 or 4 recruits. Some month I'll have 1 recruit. I'll have no recruits. It's very being intentional. That word intentional, if you change your mindset to it, it will change your business. I can guarantee you. You're intentional with your host and you're intentional with your follow-ups and your everything. If you use that word and you put it in your business, you're going to see a change. I can guarantee it. I think that's all I wanted to say for tonight. I don't know if there's anything else anybody wanted to.
Yeah, those are really great tips, Sam. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, or you can even unmute if you want. And while we wait for some questions, because I'm sure some people will have them. So the biggest thing that I come across is people want to know, but what do I say? How do I ask someone to flip? So what are some of the phrases that you've used to ask someone?
So actually I am a very visual person. I think that when you talk and talk and talk, people just kind of pick and choose what they want to hear. And if they don't want to hear that, then they'll turn it off. Like, it's almost like a child. They want to pick and choose what they want to hear. And if they don't like it, they're going to kind of like, nah, I don't like it. Too much, way too much. So either I will voice text to them, or I'll call them on the phone. I know that sometimes with some of my older hosts, they would prefer a phone call to kind of like explain it to them a little bit more. A lot of my younger hosts would prefer pictures. So what I will do is go on Canva and kind of break it down. And I think when we were on our retreat, I know Hannah kind of helps me out with this too. It was almost like a side by side. You can either option 1 or option 2. And then as their party's going, depending how much it is, you would fill in how much they could earn, how much, how many half offs, how many, because if you tell somebody, hey, if you sell $200, you're going to get $20 in free Scentsy and 1 item for half price. But if you show them, sometimes I'll put like a fun, like $20, like a picture of a $20 bill, or let's see, like something in the catalog that'll equal $20. You know what I mean? So if you visually show them like, hey, this is what you can earn. And people are like, $200, like that's a lot. You're like, if you think about it, I could probably spend $200 by myself. Between the warmers and a 6-pack of wax, I could probably do it myself. So when you break it down smaller, and I don't want it to sound mean, but you almost have to, like, it's almost like a Scentsy for dummies. Not for dummies, like I don't want to use that word because I don't like it, but you have to break it down, okay? Because to us, we know what we're talking about. We live and breathe what we're doing. Like, we love this. If you're in it, you know what you're talking about. You can say, oh, you can get this and this. But somebody from like the outside, they don't understand that. So you have to break it down. So you can do it visually. You can give them a phone call. Again, being intentional with who your host is. If I had a host who was 56 and she doesn't really use the Facebook kind of stuff, I met her at a party or at like an event, and she wanted to host a party. And I said, do you have Facebook? And she's like, I don't do the whole social media thing. So I said, okay, well, what are you familiar with? Well, I text a lot of people, and I'm going to see these people, a group of people this weekend for like a church type thing. Okay, awesome. So I'm going to give her a personal shopping link. That's what I'm going to call it. I'm not going to call it, something crazy. I got to break it down so she understands. Personal shopping link. You can text this to anybody you'd want. If they order from that personal shopping link, it'll go right to that link. And then made a couch party type thing and put samples in there and flyers and all the things. So again, using that word intentional. And I think intentional is going to be my word for 2023. Believe was for 2022, but I think 2023 is going to be intentional. And like I said, that word is definitely changing my business right now.
I love it. That's super helpful. Because it's true. I think a lot of us do forget. If you've done it longer than a month, like that's all we're thinking about. And it's just obvious. But to a host or a new consultant, a lot of those things are not obvious. So great job being intentional in explaining those things.
Yeah, like I said, you can book like 10, if you want to book 10 parties at a time, cool, awesome. Anybody can book 10 parties, but are you intentional with all 10 parties? Or are you only intentional with 40% of them? Like you need to sit down, look at your host, write down, maybe make like a spreadsheet or something of what that host wants, know their favorite scent, so that way when you're ready to close that party, you're closing that party. You're not taking days trying to figure out what that host wants. And, again, people have busy lives, I could text Shelly and say, hey, I'm ready to close your party. What are you interested in? And then 3 days down the road, I'm like, Shelly, hey, we gotta close your party, girl. Like, what you want? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta know what your host is interested in.
And that's so true. I'm sure many of us have had that experience of, hello, you earn free stuff. Do you want it?
Do you want it?
I want you to want it. Noemi did ask, does the workstation have a host coaching checklist? Which people answered, yes, there is one. You can find it in the workstation by searching that. Bear asked, for your online parties, like for Facebook, do you set them as private or public?
I will ask my host what they want. I will ask my host if they want it private or if they want it public, because you guys, we have to remember that sometimes not a lot of people want us to know or want them to know that they're having parties, because maybe they have a Scentsy consultant, but they're helping out somebody else. And if that's public, you kind of don't want to step on toes. I've had that where somebody was like, I want to have a party with you, but my consultant's over here. And I'm like, me personally, I'm like, I don't do that. You go to your consultant, you do a party with them. I don't like stepping on toes. That's not my flavor, cup of tea, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I just I ask the host what they want. Sometimes they want it. Maybe they don't want their friend Mary to know that they're having a Scentsy party. And then all of a sudden, like, I didn't get invited. I don't do that. I ask them, would you like your party to be public or private? Because then if it's private, they will add their people to the party and do what they want. If they want it public, then they can share that for other people to see.
I love that. I recently ran into that, joking with some people like, oh, well, when are you going to host a party? And they're like, well, if I host a party for you, then I have to host a party for my Pampered Chef lady or my Mary Kay lady. So having the ability to make it private allows them to do that without them having to host for everybody. So yeah, that's smart.
Yes. I also set my hosts to be admins too on there. So I don't do events. I do on Facebook, I do groups. Because if my host is turning their part, if they want to flip the party, then they take that group page and it's now their Scentsy consultant page. So they don't have to, and I will make that for them. I will show them how to use that group. I will turn them into an admin. Sometimes I stay as an admin too, just to kind of help them like, hey, this isn't compliant. Like you can't put this, like you can't do that type thing. But I will turn their party group page. So again, I don't do an events page. I do a Facebook group, change the banner, all that fun stuff, and do all that. And then once they are a consultant, if that's what they choose to do, I will do a big announcement in that page and be like, oh my God, your host just decided to join Scentsy, and like I am so like, you guys are already in here. This is her VIP page. Like you guys already have full access, type thing. I don't like that people, I shouldn't say I don't like, people don't like being added to so many groups. They don't like it. They are turned off by it. They don't want to do it. It's, again, it kind of leaves like a bad taste in their mouth almost. So that's what I'll do too. And so far my hosts who have been like turned into my my front line, they love it. They're like, thank you so much. Like this is an amazing start to their business, and it gets it's them confidence. Like they already have everything that's listed for fall and winter, so then they can go off that. So that's what I do for my hosts.
With hosts that choose not to flip, what do you do with those groups?
So you can archive the group, or you can just leave it. I kind of just leave it. And sometimes what I will do is, if the host is not interested in flipping, I've had it like 1 or 2 times where people in the party are like, I'm kind of interested in like, what is this like host to join type special thing going on? I did it one time. I had that person take over the group, kind of like, because it was like a family member. So it was already people that was already like connected. But usually I'll just kind of either archive the group, or what I'll do is, if the party's not very big, I will message those people individually that were in the party group and say, hey, you were a part of Shelly's Facebook Scentsy party. Are you interested in hosting a party for yourself? I've had 2 parties come of that every time I do that. So it kind of, it's almost like a snowball effect. You want to keep it going. You want to keep your name in these people's mouths. You want them to know that Sam is the Scentsy consultant. They want, I want them to know that, hey, I'm here if you need me. Again, I don't step on toes when it comes to, yeah, but I order with Shelly. Okay, then you can order with Shelly. Like, cause I'm not taking, like, I don't like that. That's not what I like to do. So again, I either archive it, leave it alone. I've had one time, the lady wanted to take over the group and turn it into her party and stuff like that. And she made a post that was like, hey, scroll down. I changed a couple links and stuff like that to hers. So kind of what you want to do with it, I guess.
All right, that's helpful. Great. Hannah posted a party flip image. So if you are on your cell phone, sometimes you don't always see the chat. So you can go in there and download that image. That is helpful. Any other questions? I think this was super great. I learned things I think everyone else did.
Yeah, in the beginning, I wasn't very into doing the whole party thing. I didn't want to be that girl who asked, hey, my name's Sam, you want to party with? Like, no, I just wasn't like that. I kind of like that wasn't my thing. And then something just kind of clicked in me that was like sharing more party stuff too, like when people did have parties. And when people have parties and they earn host like rewards and stuff like that, screenshot it. You don't have to put their name by it. Screenshot it, put it in your stories, make something out of it. Put a little, I did like Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus, like this is what you can earn when you host a party. Use your stories. I've noticed that people look at your stories more than they do your actual Facebook feed.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
Because you can
That's what I do.
Yep. And everybody is trying to stay away from Facebook posts and stuff like that. They're going to stories, and they're going to Facebook stories, and they're going to Instagram. I noticed Instagram, there's actually something posted the other day. I was talking about it with the girls at work, that Facebook is like number 5 on social media right now. The top ones that are out there right now, I think, were TikTok and Instagram. Those are the two big ones. And then I think Snapchat was third. But Instagram and TikTok are huge right now. Facebook is like kind of going down. So trying to learn and pivot my business into how can I reach more people. Also the mindset of what happens one day if social media is gone. How are you going to connect with your people? How are you going to have parties? How are you going to use those parties and flip them to hosts, or flip the host to being Scentsy consultants? How are you going to do that? So those are a couple questions that I had to really dig down deep. And that is I think where the word intentional came from. Being intentional and knowing who your hosts are. Going off of the social media aspect and actually going outside and talking with people. I think COVID changed everything for all of us and made it a bigger social media world. I think again, I think that's where TikTok and Instagram kind of started shining a little bit more. But what happens one day when those are gone? How are you going to host parties? You know, COVID is starting to lighten up a little bit, so they say. Working in healthcare, it changes every day for us. So, and it was hard, you know, like working in healthcare, you see things change every day. So you don't know what's going to happen. So again, using that, and I'm going to say it again, it's that word intentional. That's what I'm going to leave with you guys tonight, is that word, because how are you going to be intentional with your business going forward? Hosting those parties and building your business. So
Perfect. I think that's a perfect way to end, because it's true. When we learn what our goals are and then we're intentional when we're working towards them, that's when your business does soar. And so I love that that is what has changed your business. So,
and it's not going to happen overnight, guys. Doing those little things, being intentional with those little tiny things that you guys are working on every single day. You know, there is periods of time that if you don't show up to your business, it can kind of hurt you. And I will be the first to admit that. Because when you get in here and you're not intentional with the stuff that you're doing, it can start going kind of down. So, yeah.
Oh, sweet. All right. Well, thank you, Sam, so much for all the things that you taught us, and especially about making sure we're intentional in what we want to do with our business. And with that, we will let everyone out early. Like Sam said, many of us, like my kids, start school tomorrow. And so, and then some of us just get up early for work or whatever. So y'all have a great night. Remember, Ascend Lounge is tomorrow night. And then if you're a part of book club, after that, and we will see everyone later. Bye, guys.
Bye.